So the first point is actually 10,000 days principle. If you've heard about that before, then great. If you haven't, then generally speaking, to master a singular skill, you must spend 10,000 hours on it. I was watching a podcast with Mr. Beast and Joe Rogan, and he was saying literally how he broke through the rule of 10,000 hours and instead he did 10,000 days. And I believe that is one of the main points on separation between the average YouTuber and Mr. Beast. Now, number 2 is going pro. This is probably the most important part of the video. I've been wanting to find and go in more detail and research about going pro because I've heard it before from somewhere and I just couldn't find it again. Basically, it's think like an athlete. The best way to think about going pro is think like an athlete. This is a tactic in, if you want to separate yourself from the 90%, think like an athlete. What I mean by this is Kobe Bryant, all of these people, they have, so Kobe Bryant has basketball, right? And he has loads of different coaches and loads of different practices, routines, schedules to hone and really work on every single skill that goes into basketball. So perhaps it's his jump, perhaps it's his endurance, perhaps it's his cardiovascular health, perhaps it's his fucking eyesight, even perhaps it's his literal like joint health. And basically he centers his whole entire lifestyle, how much he eats, what time he eats, what time he goes to bed, and everything into basketball. And so I know that's a vague description, but perhaps, you know what, I'll give you another example. So for recording or even podcasting, you would get, if you want to be a top professional, going pro professional, think like an athlete, if you want to do that with recording or podcasting, then you would actually go and get a speech and diction coach and perhaps a storytelling coach, a like voice vibration coach, and then you hyper research everything that goes into every single skill that is required to do podcasting and recording. So for example, Chris Williamson has a speech and diction coach, and he literally knows what time to take caffeine for it to be most effective for his podcast, and then how much time is needed for hydration to reach his vocal cords. So like for him, I believe it's 2 hours and a half. So he has to literally 2 hours and a half before his podcast, he has to chug like a liter of water, and then hydration will reach his vocal cords. And then this is basically the level highly successful people go towards. They have this hyper obsession over their one core desire, one core purpose, one core business, and then they just hone everything into that. And that is the point of going pro. And just to add another thing on, right, is single-ordinating principle. This is also part of going pro. And this is basically having a question in your mind that you go through every single. So let's just give you an example, right? So Elon Musk, let's say he's scrolling through his factory and he's thinking about this decision to make. Should I do this or should I do that? And then he thinks it through a prompt, the single-ordinating principle, which is literally just, does this get us close to the Mars? And for Amazon, it's, does this improve customer experience? So how you can apply this, and to bring this to your real world example, let's say you have already got a question and you are thinking about reading this book your friend told you to read, and you're thinking, but then you have this thought in your brain. Does this provide more value to my customer? Does this get us close to the Mars? Does it improve our customer experience? So for Elon Musk, does this get us close to the Mars? A book on fucking, book on music book on music, right? He would obviously not spend his time to read that. Excuse me. Instead, he would probably spend his time talking to a new engineer or some shit and getting some intellect on that, and then he can go and make better decisions. And that is basically the best explanation I can give you. I'm sorry if I didn't make that clear. And I guess what I should have explained before the single ordinating principle, I'm sorry I made it confusing for you, but before you do that, before you define what your single ordinating principle is, I would urge you to try and find out your highest contribution task. This is a very simple task by literally asking yourself the question, what work would I do if I only had 2 hours per week? If I only had 2 hours per week to work on this task. 2 hours per week. I had this magical illness that only allows me to work 2 hours per week. What is the one task I would do? For YouTubers, it would probably be recording. For authors, it would probably be writing. And so you can just think through this. It's pretty simple. You can think through this and it'd be like 30 seconds of thinking. And it's good question to ask yourself to find your highest contribution task. And from then on, you can probably put that task in the beginning of your day and then just focus everything around that task. What things can I do to make that task, make my skill with that task? How do I say this? Damn. What could I do to make myself improve the skill to make that task even better? I hope that makes sense, bro. Fuck me, man, with my lack of vocabulary. Let's say you're a YouTuber, right? Your highest contribution task is recording, and it would do you extremely good to go pro, and this is how you go pro, to focus every single thing on improving your skill of recording. And then on the side, you can improve your editing skills. On the side, you can improve your scripting skills. And the main point here is to focus on your highest contribution tasks skill. So whatever skill is needed to execute your highest contribution task, focus everything on that skill and honing that skill to perfection. Of course, there is no perfection. There is no one perfection. There is only constant improvement. You can't really find a perfect thing, because oftentimes, I know I'm going on a side tangent here, but oftentimes once you hit the perfection thing that your current self think is perfect, and then you improve yourself, holy shit, it ain't that perfect. And so that's what I'm trying to say. And so another thing in going pro is consistency, indefatigability, and perseverance. The number one thing from multiple Sparta people, probably Alex Hormozy, Alex Becker, Hamza himself, Tate, Chris Williamson, all of them say that consistency is probably the most valuable thing and the most important thing that will bring you to success. Consistency. It doesn't matter that if you don't have wisdom, if you're literally stupid, then as long as you can learn from your mistakes, then it will still bring you to success. Think about it. If you're consistent and you don't have much wisdom, you consistent, you fail, you learn, and that's where your wisdom comes from. And of course, you can be consistent in learning as well. You can literally learn online and do your business as well as learning online, and that counts as consistency as well. Now, point 2 is point 3, my bad. Point 3 is getting to the top is useless without this. And what this is mental health. Now, it's important to note here that mental health is sort of immeasurable. Of course, you can wake up every morning, how am I feeling, guys? And have a literal paper that documents every single day on what score, what percentage feeling are you feeling what percentage feeling of goodness are you feeling today? How happy are you feeling? And then with that, you can track your mental health. But mental health isn't really trackable. It isn't some like statistic you can track unless you document it yourself. But then again, that isn't really documenting your true mental health. It's only documenting your perception of the mental health, if you get what I mean. So in this section, we're going to be covering a quick guide on how to improve your mental health. First of which is going to the gym for 2 years now. This I take directly from my own experience, and honestly, I've seen a lot of people online doing shorts, and all of these young people, right? I've seen them post these shorts and TikToks and saying, "Oh, I'm now shredded, and I'm still depressed. It made no difference." But from my own experience, if you truly have like 70% of your workouts to be fulfilling, proud, you push all of those problems off of your chest, it's sort of a meditation session, really. Let's say you enter the gym with lots of demons from racking up from the day. Someone said something bad to you, someone's disrespected you at school, the girl rejected you. You push those problems off your chest and you try your very, very hardest and your best at the gym. You walk out of the gym after literally blasting your muscles and you feel proud of yourself. Oftentimes that extinguishes your demons. If you truly have a hard ass workout, then you'll know what I mean. Then you literally feel that the demons don't affect you anymore because you've literally expelled those demons out of your brain by the sheer glory of going to the gym and working as hard as possible. And so that is basically how I get better mental health with the gym, by working insanely hard in my gym. And alongside that, probably self-improvement helps that with that as well. The second thing that will improve your mental health, from my own experience, is meditation. Now, I know this is commonly said across the self-improvement industry, that meditation every single day for like 13 minutes will improve your mental health. But once again, this is untrackable until a certain point, until a tipping point, basically. And I think the tipping point for me, and when meditation actually showed progress, is around a month or so of consistent meditation every single day for, I'd say, an average of 20 minutes. For me anyways, that's from my own experience. But the effects of meditation for me is an insane lack of incessant, loud and anxietal thoughts when I'm standing next to a semi-attractive girl in the gym. So I've noticed that before moving to my current gym now, which has loads more people than my previous gym, which was literally just a basic, like, small ass room with a couple of weights and machines. So basically the effect of meditation here is you don't really have any incessant and like anxietal loud thoughts anymore that cause you to just think, oh, am I doing this right? She's literally examining every single one of my micro movements, man. Am I speaking to her correctly? Am I looking correctly? Do I look good? Is there a fucking dandruff in my head? You won't really have any of those thoughts anymore, from my own experience. I'll give you an example. So when I first started at this new gym of mine, so for perhaps like 1 year, 1 year and a bit was at this old like terrible gym, and I've moved to this new gym that's way bigger and has way more people and way more hot women. From moving to this gym, I got obviously a lot of fucking thoughts, a lot of anxietal thoughts, and a lot of, oh, am I walking correctly, man? Fuck, am I walking with broad shoulders? Am I showing confidence? Literally, whenever there's a 7 out of 10 attractive woman, Like, even she's not even that attractive, but the fact that she is a little bit attractive and my brain sees it as possible, that usually strikes down a lightning bolt of anxiety thoughts and incessant thinking on, am I doing something correctly, or am I walking correctly, or am I breathing correctly? It's just, without meditation, that is basically what I think when I'm next to a semi-attractive girl. With meditation, I'm just like, okay, there's a girl. Great, let's go talk to her. Let's go. Of course, I still feel a little bit of shyness, and instead of thinking, "Oh, am I doing this correctly? Oh, I don't want to look at her. I don't want to have eye contact with her. I'm Sigma. Instead of having that, I actually have the thought of, let's go conquer this. Let's go make her familiar with me. Let's go have some small talk with her to reduce my anxiety levels. Because honestly speaking, if you just break that wall of strangers, you actually not give a shit anymore. If you literally just talk to her, oh, is anyone using this machine? If you just literally just talk to her with any small talk you can think of, then it's significantly, I'd say 50% of your anxietal thoughts when you're next to this woman goes away. And so with meditation, I have this bold type of feeling to go and talk to a woman and conquer my anxiety with courage. So that is a benefit of meditation. And just another thing on the topic of meditation, right, is I hear a lot of people complaining about CEO mindset routines. Routines that take you 2 hours to go take a cold shower, cold bath, wake up at 4 a.m., supplement protocol, meditation for an hour straight. I hear a lot of people complaining about this, you should literally just get to work. Don't waste so much time doing useless routines. Literally just, I will outwork you. I will outwork the CEO morning routine guy. Yes, you outwork him, but perhaps you won't be as happy as he will be. Perhaps in the long run, you won't be as wealthy in terms of health and wealth. You'll literally only be wealthy in terms of money. And chances are the guy that does the CEO mindset routine, he'll be a lot happier and he'll maybe even make more money simply by the fact that he is okay with not making that much money and he has better mental health. I know this is not the best explanation, but I think you get the point, right? Number 3 in the topic of how to get better mental health is get a strong group of friends. So a big contributor to my bad mental health when I had bad mental health was not having a strong tribe. I know this is just hard for me to give you a action say, oh, go and get a strong group of friends. No, but this is an important point, and there's not really a good actionable step for me to give you here. Like, for example, just go out to the gym and start talking to someone, say hello, and then add one more sentence. I can't really give you a full stage plan without making a whole giant video on this, but essentially get a strong group of friends, because when I didn't have good mental health, I didn't have a good strong group of friends. I was literally hanging outside of like my tribe almost, talking in terms of primal, like ancestor brain, ancestor nervous system terms. Having this tribe that, honestly speaking, they didn't even care about me. They were all toxic. They all made fun of each other. And that was basically the humor of the group. They didn't have any other humor other than making fun of each other. And I was like outside of this group, just hanging, circulating around this group and not really talking to it. And just kind of, literally, I was such a sad guy at that time that literally this group was just sitting like on grass. They were all talking together. And I was just leaning against a wall over there. And I was considered a part of this group still. That's just such a sigma, but honestly speaking, bad mental health and loser type of scenario to put yourself in. So another thing here is be strict with your close circle. So the main reason behind me like hanging outside this group, right, was because I didn't want to get influenced by this group. Because this group, they were all like degenerates. Basically, they smoked, like some of them smoked weed, and I just didn't want to get influenced by their stupidity and ignorance of life. And so I stuck to the rule of, if you literally watched any self-improvement video, chances are you will have heard the terminology of you are the sum of the 5 people you hang around every single day. And so obviously hearing that, I didn't want to hang with this group. But actually with that analogy, it's a valid point. It's a valid point that I followed that rule and I didn't hang out with that group. And instead of hanging around and sticking with that tribe, I moved. I took every single ounce of courage and I moved to a new place. And with that new place, I found better, but like lower status in terms of like school hierarchy, but they were lower status. But honestly, looking from within the group, like most of them went to the gym and they weren't actually that low status. And that is the story of my secondary school life. If you are a person with bad mental health and you like hold that rule to such an extreme amount like I did, you will not end up making any friends, and even any good friends. It will be actually harder for you to find a good friend that you allow into your like an inner circle of 5 friends. It will be harder for you to find that self-improvement guy to include in your inner circle to only talk to, if you don't talk to everyone. If you don't talk to every single person, even whether they're bad, whether they smoke weed, whether they have a literal degenerate mind, if you don't talk to everyone, you won't, from my own experience, you won't find that golden friend to include in your inner circle. Because if you just think about this in a common sense, right? If you are friendly with everyone and you consider everyone as a distant friend or just normal friends and not consider them as close friends, you often find friends of their friends, and then so on, and then so on, and then so on. And eventually you hit one of their friends that are actually on self-improvement. And then you can go make friends with your friend's friend, if you get what I mean. It's just a whole chain. If you have loads of different people you're friends with, you can know a bunch more people you're friends with. And chances are having loads of friends in a single environment, so let's say the gym, that will actually make you more charismatic and confident if you think about it. If you have a large place of knowing literally everyone in the gym, some new hot chick comes to the gym, and then that new hot chick goes and talks to one of your friends and then makes friends with one of your friends, then one of your friends could introduce you to that new hot chick, and then it'd be so much easier to talk to her rather than knowing absolutely no one in the gym and going to cold approach this woman. So the last and final point in this thing, to sum all of this up and really hammer this home and actually make sense of every single information I've given you, is what does it take to do it and how? Now, I'll just tell you straight up, it's purpose. And with purpose, there are 3 things to tell it. 2 from my own experience and 1 from Hamza. Now, Hamza has made purpose very sexually attractive. Purpose is something now that everyone knows about if you watch Hamza, and it's been made sexy by him basically. But then he doesn't really go in depth on how to find your true purpose and the telltale signs to find your purpose. He literally just says, what is a flow task? And then that can be your purpose, from my understanding. So in this section, I will be telling you 3 best ways to tell that something is your purpose. So number 1, what is your best flow task? But I guess I should explain what flow is briefly before I begin, in case there are people who don't know what flow is. So flow is basically a state of which you enter when you are doing something you enjoy. So let's say it's cooking, it's baking, it's reading, it's surfing. It's a thing you can, it's a state you can enter and literally pass by 4 or 5 hours without noticing 4 or 5 hours has gone by. It goes by so fast, and then by the end of this flow state, you feel very, very proud of yourself for doing this, because you exit the flow state with a proud feeling. And during the flow state, you'll probably say to yourself that you are enjoying this task. A good example of this is when I asked my mum, does she enjoy cooking? She said, yeah, because literally the whole reason why I asked her that is because she's so fucking willing to cook. Like, even if it seems to be a hassle, she still goes and cooks because she enjoys it. And so I basically gave her a whole explanation around flow and how if she enjoys this and time flies by, she enjoys cooking, that she should probably center her whole entire life and create a business around cooking so that she can both make money and enjoy her life. So that is basically what flow/purpose is. So what is your best flow task? We can have flow in a majority of things. From what I noticed, from literally reading books, you can enter flow. From cooking, you can enter flow. From writing, you can enter flow. From recording, you can enter flow. And I guess another point of flow is, whilst you're in flow, you have no thoughts. You have no, that guy fucked me over, I fucking hate him. You have none of those thoughts. You're just present with the task and you're happy with it. But what is the best flow task? What is the task you can literally pass by the most hours in? What is the task you can be the most happy in? And so once you've defined that, there are 2 more things. Once you center your life around it, so as in you cut away all of these unnecessary things like piano lessons. I know it's hard for you to cut away if piano lessons are given to you by your mum. You have to go practice piano. That is what your mum tells you. It's hard to cut away that, right? But try to cut away all side hustles and then focus in on this flow task of yours. And perhaps create a business around it if you want to earn lots of money. And from literally cutting off everything and hyper focusing on this flow task, you'll find that 2 things. 1, your bad habits are literally gone. You will not have any bad habits surface up to you, and you won't even think about having these bad habits if you're just having a full day of flow task and working on your purpose. At the end of your flow task, even at the end of your flow task, when you're exhausted and you're a bit tired now, maybe if you're recording, your throat's hurting, you'll find that you're proud of yourself now, and you have the mindset and the feeling of a winner now, because you've literally been in a flow task for 3 and 4 hours, that you don't really want to ruin it with any bad habits. And so that is one of the things. And the second thing is you have a 20% elevated level of constant happiness over every single day, provided that you do your flow task, provided. And by the way, if you want a more actionable video on perhaps this exact topic, on how to implement this shit, how to actually integrate this to your day-to-day life, how to make a routine that basically makes you unstoppable, then perhaps it would be good for you to check out my video on how to be unstoppable. I'll link it up there, or I'll link it in the description below, because I honestly haven't titled that video yet. And it may be how to be unstoppable, it may be how to be limitless, it may be something along the lines of that, but I highly refer you to check that video. And if you found value from this video, quick sales pitch here. If you found value from this video, any sort of value, and you feel that you sort of want to, apologies, there's a bit of construction there, but if you feel that you want to help me out a little bit, then the best way you can do that is share this with a friend, like the video, just make any sort of interaction in this video, and I would be insanely grateful for that. Thank you so much for watching. Join my Discord if you want to talk to me. Goodbye, bro. In a bit. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching.